I'm Corey McDaniel, and I play Charlotte von Mahlsdorf and roughly 35 other characters in I Am My Own Wife. I expected the process to be incredibly intimate, and it was. There were only three of us in the rehearsal room, so that gave us a lot of time and intimacy and closeness and the ability to work privately, if you will, to explore and to find and to search things out. It was very unique. Generally, there's a lot of people in the rehearsal room. Probably what I was not expected for were the physical, mental, and spiritual demands of a one-man show. Of course, a one-man show would be physically demanding, but the fact, even small things like the rehearsal room, there's no one else rehearsing, so there's no moment for you to sit down and catch your breath and look at the next scene and mentally prepare for what's your next 10-minute or 20-minute or hour-long slot, because you're always the one standing, you're always the one there working. And processing so many different characters and so many different storylines and people thoughts, the mental demands of that, learning to juggle it required just, I would walk out of rehearsals and I walk out of the shows feeling as though I've run a marathon every time, just completely wiped out physically, mentally. Spiritually, it's fantastic, but it's also draining because there's no one else to depend on. It's all got to come from you. You've got to, I didn't know how challenging it would be, that brief moment before you walk on stage, knowing that it's just you. There's no one's going to cover for you if you mess it up on stage. So there's been a lot in terms of, a lot of growth and a lot of unexpected discoveries in terms of facing those fears and excitements and all of that great stuff. I was surprised at how little I knew and understood in regards to the bridge and the transition from Nazi Germany to communist Germany. I think we all understand Nazi Germany and we all pretty well understand communist Germany, but how did we get there? And how did that happen after the Second World War? Wasn't it all supposed to be wonderful and freed and a new Europe and a new Germany and the discoveries I made just historically in regards to how that happened and what that was like for East Germans was mind-blowing. And I felt shame even for the fact that I didn't know more of that history. So there was a whole lot of discoveries that were made in regards to the historical aspect of that. Artistically, professionally, I'm most proud of I tend to have a lot of stage fright, as many actors do. Straight stage fright cripples even some of the most successful actors. And I would be one that suffers from high levels of stage fright. And facing that fear in a one-man show, it goes back to the idea that you're the only one on stage. You're the only one, you have to do this. You have to get through it no matter what. And you have to do it as honestly and as you were directed as possible. And so I would have expected myself to have been much more fearful, and though I was incredibly fearful and stressed over the short timeline, the enormous amount of lines and blocking and characters and transitions and changes of thought and all of these things to maintain mentally and physically on stage, it was just really being able to face the fact that I have to do this and I'm doing it and I get to do this, and being stressed and fearful isn't going to help. So I think I learned a whole new level of monitoring my own anxieties of being on stage and being on stage alone. And there were even a couple of nights where I had to, call a colleague before the show and say, I'm not stressed tonight, and I'm worried about that because I should be. So we get there. Of course, openings and stuff, I was incredibly stressed and fearful, but so there's a lot of growth for me personally in that area. So I'm really proud of my ability just to face that demon and get out there and do my job and love doing it each night. What are you still working through? What are you still working through? Is the answer everything still acceptable?